I have 5 really useful English expressions which you can use in your daily life to impress your listeners and to sound more like a native. Let's do it. Hi everybody, it's me, Elliott from ETJ English, and today I'm going to be sharing 5 really useful expressions. In fact, all of these expressions I used in my podcast, episode 11. When I was listening back and editing it, I realized, wow, I used a lot of idioms and expressions here. So I thought today I'd delve into these expressions, give you some useful information about them and tell you how you can use them. And hopefully you'll be using them naturally in no time with some good pronunciation. Speaking of accents, remember I do have an accent course which includes WhatsApp and WeChat voice message support. You can find all the information below at etjenglish.com. So, expressions. The first one I noticed that I used in my podcast the other day was when I was talking about my headphones. I was talking about them in my podcast about how I wanted to get some new ones. And the reason why is because my current headphones, well, they're on their last legs. If something, an item, is on its last legs, it means that it's not working the same as it used to. It's near the end of its life or of its kind of time of being useful. I've been wearing these headphones for such a long time, okay? I've worn them in the rain, I've worn them at the gym, 6 days a week for months and months since the beginning of this year, and they're just getting tired. So tired, in fact, that they're on their last legs. They're going to break any moment. I know it. I can just feel it. They're at the weakest they can be. So they're on their last legs. You can say this about an animal, it's on its last legs. You can say this about an item you own, so some electronic item you own or something like that, okay? It can be on its last legs. You could even say it's hanging by a thread. Imagine a thread, right? A string. And you have something heavy on that string. It's going to start breaking and eventually the string will break and the item will fall. It's the same thing in a way. It's very similar. If something is hanging by a thread, for example, our relationship is hanging by a thread. That simply means that just one more pull on that string and it will break. So that's another useful expression. I just thought of that while I was talking. Now this one is a little bit naughty. It involves a word which could be considered to be a little bit rude. But as I said, I use this in my podcast. I use this quite a lot. I work my arse off. I work my arse off. Now, if you work your arse off, it means you work really, 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 really hard. Really hard, right? I work my arse off. I could say I've been working my arse off all week. I worked my arse off to make my course. Now, it doesn't really make sense because your arse, your bottom, it can't really fall off, technically. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if there are any doctors in the house. It doesn't really make sense, but that's the whole point of this. It's an expression. We use this expression a lot, but please remember the word arse is slightly rude and slangy, so I wouldn't recommend using it in the workplace. Maybe just use it with friends and in informal situations. Okay, so I work my arse off. Let's just talk about the pronunciation of the word work, because so many of my students who join my course have a problem with the sound. The first thing I want you to know is that with this word work, we don't pronounce the letter R. Okay, so it's just a w, k. But the difficulty is the sound. Everybody has a problem with this sound. Look at my mouth, okay? It's quite relaxed. It's a bit like how you would breathe when you're sleeping, right? If you sleep with your mouth open, you kind of just have your mouth relaxed. But we just need to curl the tongue slightly in the middle of the mouth and release a sound. Take a deep breath. Work. There's no R. Don't pronounce the R. Next one. Have you ever poured your heart out to someone? Now really this, again, doesn't make sense. But we associate our heart with our emotions, with our feelings, with love. right? So if you pour your heart out to someone, you're telling them how you feel, whether you're telling them how much you love them, how strongly you feel about something. You're saying all of that until your heart is empty, to pour your heart out. It's a very good one to use if you're talking about a relationship, or last night, my girlfriend and I, we had an argument. Okay, we didn't really. And I poured my heart out to her. Are you a sucker for something? I'm a sucker for you, for example. I'm a sucker for chocolate. Anything, right? If you're a sucker for something, it means that you love it, you give into it, you need it. It's just something that's really, really nice and you love it. You can't help but love it. You're a sucker for it. It's a bit more, again, of a informal expression, okay? But you can be a sucker for someone as well. It's in a lot of songs in music where we would say, I'm a sucker for you. It means that you are something which I adore, I love, and I enjoy using or talking to or being around or whatever it is. For example, my friend said to me the other day that he's a sucker for romantic movies. I want to finish with a phrasal verb, which is in touch. Because again, I used this in my podcast episode. I said that I'm in touch with my sensitive side. In touch with my sensitive side. Firstly, to be in touch. There are a number of ways that you could use this. I'm staying in touch with my friend while he's traveling in Australia. Okay, that means he's in Australia, but we're still contacting each other. We're staying in touch. Now, on a similar note, if you're in touch with your emotions, then that means you're not afraid to show your sensitive side. You understand your emotions and you might be quite a sensitive, emotional person. Okay, so some people aren't in touch with their sensitive side, meaning that then they don't like to show their sensitive side, or maybe they don't have a sensitive side to themselves, an emotional side, right? So it basically is just another way of saying that you are sensitive, okay? And that's it. I'd love you to write in the comments below, which one of these was your favorite? Did you know all of them? Or was there one particular that you learnt today which was really, really useful? Why don't you try and use one of them in a sentence? Maybe tell me about a time when you worked your ass off. Maybe tell me about a time when you poured your heart out to someone. Is there something that you own right now which is on its last legs? Maybe. Let me know and practice in the comments below. Now, I know you love it when I share these expressions videos and when I include a little bit of pronunciation, and I love sharing these things which I know that you wouldn't learn in school. These expressions you'd never learn in school. But remember that my real profession is being a pronunciation teacher, an accent coach. So if you're looking to reduce your accent and to replace it with a full British accent, with a professional teacher through voice conversations and videos, downloadable content, everything you could possibly need to change your accent. You can join my course by clicking the link in the description below. Go to etjenglish.com. And if you're watching this around the end of November, beginning of December 2019, it's Black Friday, okay? We're around that period of time, so there is currently a 15% off sale. So be quick. I can't wait to talk to some of you and give you your first accent evaluation when you join the course. But for now, those of you who don't join, thank you very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you found it useful. Press that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye.